Welcome back everybody to another Geometry Dash tutorial. This one is gonna be quite cool. So we're gonna teach you how you can make a platformer wave. So you can just, go ahead and platform yourself. You can go up, you can go right, you can go down, all of that stuff. I made a video on it on my main channel and a lot of people liked it. We got 5,000 likes and that's why we're doing this awesome tutorial. So yeah, I'd say let's just get right into it. So firstly, I would like to actually explain exactly how this even works, because I first had to come up with the idea before implementing it, and I think it is very important for you guys that want to recreate this to know what is gonna go on, so that it's just much easier to recreate. So the wave is basically, if you keep holding the right, it's basically gonna do this like boosting, and if you click the mouse button, it's gonna start launching. And now I'm not clicking anything, so the wave is pointing down. If I start clicking right again, he's gonna start like kind of launching up, and now I let go, he's doing that, and now if I click, he's actually gonna start going down. So going up and like that, and left is the exact same thing. I'm just gonna go down and then left like that. You can switch directions. So if you click once, you're basically just switching directions, and holding left and then clicking will actually just launch you to the direction that you have chosen, which I personally think is the best way to do it. I have thought a lot about how you can make this cool, and I believe that this is one of the best ways, because you only have 3 buttons to click, so, and pretty much like 4 or 5 different actions that need to be done. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing you need to do is you want to have the movements of the wave already coded. So in here I have basically a loop of the wave. By the way, if you want to have the wave, just like search in something like wave icon or something, and you're gonna find this exact texture. So you can just yoink it, put it in here, give it a group ID of, my god, of 1, and then you want to make the movement for the wave. So this one is a loop for going up right. So add a move trigger 2. These are the values that worked good for me, 0.02, and most importantly, small step. And this is the group ID, which is the wave. And now simply clicking over here and create loop is basically just gonna create these guys, right? And do the exact same for this one. So this one is bottom right, right? So like that. This one is left and down, and this one is left and up. So just do these, make for each individual one a loop. And now when you do the loop, there's gonna be this one, which is basically gonna start the loop, but we don't want to start the loop until we actually do something with it. So instead of doing that, you want to add a pause trigger right above it, which is basically just gonna stop it instantly. So it's gonna start the loop of going up and right, and instantly just gonna stop it, so that later on we can resume it whenever we want. So now you have all these 4 things, which is very important. And to make sure that the guy actually follows the player, what you're gonna do is, well, it's a bit of a trick, but the player is actually not this guy. The player is actually this guy. So there is a way to kind of work around it, like what I have here, but this is not the greatest thing. But in here I actually have a box where the player is just going to be stuck right in there, and the wave is just basically his own thing, and he has a collision block on top of him. And now to actually make this guy kind of move to where you want, we want to track the person's clicks, or we want to record the inputs that happen on someone's keyboard. So here you guys can see these are basically the mechanics for the wave, and I'm just gonna do a quick explanation of what's going on here. So if I click up, which means if I click the mouse button or W on my keyboard, it's gonna check, am I looking to the right or am I looking to the left? If I'm looking to the right, then we're gonna resume the right up, right? Because I clicked, that means it has to be up. So it goes ahead and does this one, right? So you guys can see I put them right in front of each other, and this one is if I'm going to the left, and this one is whether I'm like clicking or not. But we're gonna get into that in a bit, just so that you guys know. So I'm gonna add these. I have like numbers to basically compare when it comes to debugging. So you guys can see that this is C1 and this is C2, and let's firstly focus on C2. C2 is very simple. It's whether I'm looking to the right or the left. So right is 1, just focus on the bottom number, and if I click left, it's gonna gonna be -1. So no matter what I do, it's just gonna be depending on where this guy is aiming. Is it right or left? No alarm. And yeah, now the C1 is basically, am I clicking or not? So you guys can see that if I start clicking to the right, he's actually gonna make this 1. And if I start clicking to the left, he's gonna start making it 1. But now you're like, what is the difference? Well, this one we need to be able to differentiate between this and this, right? See, like the bottom one is always 1, but whether the upper one is 1 is the one that determines whether I should go up or down. So that's exactly what we want, and to achieve that, it's not that hard. You just have to use the event trigger, and this is actually not the correct one, so this one right here. So if I click the left button, what it's gonna do is set 1 to -1 and 2 to -1 as well, because left, like we said, is -1, and this one is right, and it's gonna set them both to 1. And then of course, as soon as we release either way, the 1 is basically going to be set to 0. So the 2 doesn't reset if I let go, but only the 1, right? So no matter what I do on reset, it only happens for the 1. So now we have the numbers. It is very important to get that to work so that we can actually start comparing items to see where the player needs to go. So like I said, let's actually just take a very simple example. Let's say this is 0 and this is 1. That means I'm pointing to the right bottom section. So let's go through this. If this event trigger gets triggered, which means I click, so if I click like that, what should happen? Well, it basically triggers 5, and 5 is this one right here, which basically just checks if the number at the top, so C1, is equal to 1. So is this number set to 1? Well, in this case, it is going to be false. So this one is going to get triggered instead of this. So 13, what is 13? Well, 13 is this, which is another check. So this one is going to check. Okay, we said I1, which is this one. I don't know why it says C here, and there it says I think in here it's like counter, and in here Rob changed the name to item, but either way. So we checked, is it 1? No, it's not. Well, is it 0 then? Yeah, it is 0. And if it wasn't 0, we would check one more time if it is -1, because like I said, those are the only 3 options that it could be. So is it 1? We said no. Is it 0? Yes, indeed. So this time we're gonna have to go to 11. 11 is this one, which basically checks. Now we are on to item number 2. So it's gonna check, is item number 2 equal to 1? And in our case, I'm not gonna lie, but it is. So that means this one gets into true, which is 18, and 18 just resumes 8. And 8, like I said, in here, you guys remember, we paused it, and it is the right bottom corner. So clicking will basically just continue that loop. Cool. So now how do we actually like go into different branches in here? Because you guys can see that these are like different things. So to do that, what you have to do is just check in on different things. Let's say I am going to the right. I want to launch it. So now both of them are 1. So this one's going to check, is it 1? Yes. Then there is basically nothing to be worried about, because you're just going to go to the up right section if you click. And like I said, like that is going to be upper left, which is -1, and another -1. So yeah, now you might say, why are there so many things up here? Reason for that is you guys will see that, let's say I went to the upper right corner, right? Then this one is going to resume, right? And then I go to the left, and then that one is going to resume. But we haven't paused the old one. We have to, of course, pause it as soon as you basically let go. And what was the letting go? Well, of course, it was whether I am clicking or not. That's why I have these count triggers, which basically just check, is item number 1 equal to 0? So have I let go now? And if it is, I'm simply going to stop 10 and resume 9. And you guys can see that in here, these are pretty much all the same, but it is only like resuming one single movement, and it's stopping all the other ones. So it's 6, 8, 9, and 10. So in here, 8 is getting resumed, and all the other ones are getting stopped. And in here, 6 is the one that is getting resumed. In here, it is 9 and in here it is 10. Just depends on where exactly you land on here to see basically just which one you want to enable. So that is very cool. And now the hardest part, which is rotating this guy to your basically like the direction that you're going, just like the wave. And to do that, what I did is I took these arrows and I actually gave them group IDs. Each one has a group ID, and we can actually take those and insert them as a rotation for our thing so that we don't have to do too much coding. And so this is one, so rotate one, so around itself, and make it follow the rotation of 22, which in this case is this arrow right here. And yeah, it does that with an offset. Rotation offset, just basically how much offset you want to have. So if it doesn't work, just keep like changing the number. And 90 was pretty fitting. And now you guys can see that depending on which one happens, it's actually just going to go ahead and start doing that. And when do these guys even get triggered? Well, you just have to add an instant count trigger, and this is a bit complicated because what we have here is the same tree in here, so we have to double check. So we have to check for 1 and then also for 2, which is why I have this one. So if this one, for example, item ID was 0, then that one gets triggered, where we check if item 2 is equal to 1. Now, of course, I could have used the item compare, but I just thought this was a bit simpler, so I did that. And if the 2 matches as well, then we go over to these guys. And 20, you guys are going to see what it is in a bit, but yeah, after having all these checks for every single thing, because it could either be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1, right? This is like 8 triggers, and then you simply have to loop them for some reason. I tried many different ways to do this, but it didn't really work, and just looping them seems to work pretty fine. And yeah, now let's actually go ahead and see what exactly even is 20. Well, 20 is whether we're actually launching or not. So you guys can see that I added a bunch of fires in here using the particle system. If you want to join the values over here, you can. And a fireball, which is also has the property of 20, the group ID alongside the particle have group ID of 20 alongside this nice little thing that I decided to add as well. And they basically just get enabled or disabled whether you're clicking or not. So just knowing exactly where to place those triggers will just do the job. And with that, we're actually like 99% done, because this is all mechanics. All of that is just mechanics. And the wave trail, pretty simple. Actually, not that much. That's why I don't release my level, because it's like 20,000 particles. Are you kidding me? But yeah, this is the particle for the wave. If you want to have it, here it is. And yeah, it's cool. You can do that with it. And yeah, that's why it's 20,000. But if you want to actually, before I release this, I'm actually going to go ahead and, you know, maybe this is going to be bad, but you guys want to play this. Yeah, this is terrible. Okay, I'm going to like do 10 seconds. So this is just how long you want the trail to be enabled for, because after a few seconds it's actually just going to start disappearing, because it's a particle. It can't just stay there forever, which is why it's going to start drawing like that really quick. And yeah, of course, don't forget these guys. Also, make the camera just follow object ID 1 with an easing to make it smooth instead of focusing the camera on the player. And that's pretty much it for the wave, actually. Like, once you do that, just make sure that this trail is, one of them is parent, and just make 34 follow 1 at all times. And yeah, the trail is always there, and if you move, it's just gonna start doing stuff. And the reason why this doesn't do that is because it's on relative. If it was on group, it is one single object, but relative makes it very cool. So the more time you spend in the editor, the more you'll know about the editor. So now, dying. How do we die? That's the most important thing. Actually, in this level you can't die, because the mechanic doing the hitboxes for this is a bit annoying. I mean, come on, like if you click F5, we're gonna see the hitboxes. Why can't we, like in here, say if X touches the blocks or the hazards or the passable blocks, then do this? No, you have to literally like draw a hitbox around them, which is, I was like, we are not doing it for this entire thing. So what you could do is, of course, I have everything for the death. So in here, you guys can even see I have the sound effect. I mean, you guys can also hear. But yeah, just add a collision block that once it touches, basically plays this particle that has all of these properties, exactly the same as the original
original explosion. And this sound effect, pretty simple. Play the particle on 1 as soon as you die. And also make sure to like actually hide. So in here, no death effect, SFX. So if you die, it's not gonna play any sound, because when you okay, this is a bit hard to explain, but when this guy dies, the actual player doesn't die, because we're just playing a fake sound effect, right? So what you want to do is like add a spike that constantly follows the player, and then enable that once you actually die, and then you can just respawn whenever you want. And a little bit of the zoom, you know, this guy also necessary. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's very complicated to go over this like step for step, but I think now actually explaining the entire thing from beginning to end, like how the mechanics work, is actually going to give you guys a much better idea on how to implement this. Usually my tutorials are like literally I start with nothing and then I start doing stuff, but something like this is like way too complicated to explain. Like the video would have been probably like 50 minutes by now, but you guys get the idea. It's really just thinking about how you can get it through. And thank God I'm somehow managed to do all this. But yeah, I guess that's it for this tutorial. And now that you guys are over here, I'm just gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna verify this, maybe. And yeah, thank you all for the 5,000 likes on the main channel. I think that was very cool. And let me know what kind of tutorials you guys would like to see. Feel free to rewatch this tutorial as well. And also I would like to recommend watching the playlists that are currently on the screen, and I'll see you guys over there.